With regards to suicide, I'll say this. Is suicide good? Is it bad? Should you do it? What are Leo's thoughts on this? Well, first of all, it doesn't really matter what my thoughts are. What matters are what your thoughts are. Because whatever my thoughts are, yours are going to actually determine whether you do it or not. Not mine. But I'll share my thoughts with you anyways. Maybe it'll set your head straight. My thoughts on it are that ultimately it doesn't matter. In the absolute sense, it doesn't matter. If you want to end your life, you can. It's your choice. It's not morally wrong in any sense. And in fact, if you were in deep enough suffering, you would kill yourself. Any of us would. If the suffering got deep enough, I guarantee you'd kill yourself. That's just a fact of life. But fortunately, the majority of us will never be in that much suffering to do it. And the desire, or even the thought, just the mere thought of wanting to kill yourself already shows you that your mind is not pure. There's something impure about your mind. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, well, Leo, but if I kill myself, I will reach the Godhead sooner and faster and deeper. I will become infinitely conscious. I will merge into God with love and all this good stuff that you talk about. Isn't that true? Isn't that what you've said? Yes, death is infinite love. But this dream that you're in is also infinite love. It's also God. This is it here. Don't go looking for it somewhere else. It's here. In fact, there's nowhere to go. There's here. Even when you're thinking about your suicide, that already is fantasy land. You're fantasizing. You're not grounded in the present moment, in what's absolutely true. And if you were, you would have no need to kill yourself. The thought wouldn't even arise. You would be so enraptured and in love with the beauty and majesty of this present moment. God is right here. Look at your hands. Look around you. Look at the trees. Look at the birds. It's pure fucking beauty. Where are you running off to? Where are you going to go? To see what? This is it. The point of the work is to recontextualize all this as the absolute beauty that it is, and then you can enjoy it. There's no other purpose to life or to being than the enjoyment of it. And by enjoyment of it, I mean to love it. See, love is not something you enter into when you die, although of course it is that, but love is your love for what is here, right here. Do you love this? Can you love this? That's the challenge. There's no challenge in loving everything when you're dead. That happens automatically. There's no challenge. The challenge is precisely to figure out how to love this, the stuff that is limited and difficult to love. It's the thorn in your side that's difficult to love. Now, if you say, well, Leo, but why? I don't want to play this game. Why can't I just have it easy, the easy way out? Well, look, in the end, suicide is your prerogative as a living being. Nobody can ultimately stop you. Some people can tell you it's bad. Some people can tell you it doesn't matter. Some people can tell you it's not bad, but you shouldn't do it for the sake of others or because you're being selfish or whatever. But in the end, you're going to do whatever you want to do. And nobody has a right to tell you what to do. So I'm not going to sit here and moralize to you about suicide. I just want to point out to you that if you have a craving for it, that itself, you should notice, is not a healthy impulse. Something is out of whack in your mind. Now, if you're in really, really deep suffering because you've had some terrible chronic, you're in a car crash and you broke your spine and now you're in miserable pain 24/7, that's a separate situation. We can talk about that. That's almost like we can talk about that as like euthanasia. And we can make some ethical points about the validity of doing suicide in that situation. And I'm not going to talk about that here. For the majority of people who commit suicide, that is not their situation. For the majority of people, what it is that their mind is tricking them in some way. And yes, many people, of course, do suffer. I totally acknowledge that. But what you have to realize about the suffering is that your suffering comes and goes, and it ebbs and flows. On some days, and I mean, I'm not immune to this. I've had suicidal thoughts before. I'm not perfect. In fact, in the last year, if you've been following along with my health issues with my stomach, I had a very tenacious gut infection in my stomach that has been very difficult to cure. I've tried all sorts of antibiotics that have not worked. And I'm still trying to figure that out. But it's caused me so much suffering and misery and pain over the last year and a half. I've tried so many things. Like, I was at my wit's end with this thing. I went to all these doctors, did all this sort of stuff, so much suffering. It shot the quality of my life down from, like, if we say it was 100%, now it's at like 20%. And there were moments in that period where I was suffering so much with no hope in sight that I had suicidal thoughts. And I would think to myself, well, if this keeps going, I can't live like this. Because there's no way to enjoy life in this state. But what you have to understand is that even when you hit those lows, those are usually temporary lows, and your mind will play a trick on you where it will get you to think like, well, it's going to be this way forever. But then, of course, I know that it's not going to be this way forever. So the key thing to remind yourself when you're in this kind of depressive mood is that, first of all, you make a commitment not to harm your body ever and to take good care of your body. Just making that commitment, which I've recommended in the past in my Is Actualize.org Occult episode, I talk about making a commitment not to harm your body on this journey. It's a very important safeguard. So make sure you do that. You make that commitment, and then what you do is you sort of commit to suffering it out through life, no matter how bad it gets. And on some days it'll get really bad, but what happens is that when you commit to suffering it out no matter what, this is actually what purifies you and saves you and grows you. Later in life, you will remember that those lowest points were some of the most important for your growth and for your spiritual work. But I'm not going to lie, some days it'll be very difficult, and your mind will try to fool you into thinking like it's never going to get better. And really, when a person decides to commit suicide, is that moment when they decide that there's no more hope. There's no way this can be improved. Every avenue has been exhausted. It's really, I think, only when you feel that way and you get yourself to believe that fiction, it's then that you actually decide to commit suicide. Because as long as you maintain at least one avenue of hope, one possibility you can try tomorrow to improve your situation, one way that things might get better or turn around for you, as long as you maintain that, then you can keep going. But if you lose all hope, then you're as good as gone. And on some days, you will lose all hope, and your mind will be so uncreative that you will not be able to imagine a better alternative or any alternative. You're going to think you're stuck this way forever. And that's what I want you to remember, me telling you that it's just a temporary trick of your mind. It's not true. There's always something else you can try. There's always some additional hope. And therefore, it's worth toughing it out, because tomorrow your brain will reset, your mind will reset, you'll catch a second wind, you'll get a little bit of relief, you'll get some more ideas, you'll get some new people in your life who can help you or who can suggest new things to you. You'll read a new book that'll have a new technique or whatever, and then you'll come out of it. And then that will let you appreciate life more. Really, really appreciate what you have here. You've been given this incredible, unique opportunity to be yourself. You're the only one who's like this in the universe. In the entire universe, you're the only one here who's like this, like you, exactly the way you are. And the game of life is for you to figure out how to live that in a beautiful way, in a way that is harmonious with the rest of what's here. How to discover and tap into your special strengths and gifts and the unique contributions you can make to mankind. It's very challenging. Sometimes life gets very, very, very challenging. To a suicidal point. That's why I want you to make a commitment to never physically harm your body. In fact, that's not even enough. If you're following my work, then you should know that my work is not just about maintaining your body, but it's about improving your body.